Hello, everybody. This is Bo from Blades and Blasters. Welcome back to our game of Heroes and Hardships. We're playing Lord of the Rings, or it's a Tolkien-themed game. Not really Lord of the Rings. It's set in the First Age. It's called the Doom of Dorthonion. It's actually our fourth prologue for this game. We have 4 players. We have Tet and Wanderer, and they've each had a prologue. And then tonight we're going to do Effie, who's playing Quiet. She's a human from the House of Beor. And we are playing also with Emma, who's playing Lineth, who is one of the First Age elves, badasses who came over from the Valinor way back in the day. This is my 4th time jamming the system. We're all kind of getting used to it. So we'll just take her easy tonight. Let's go ahead and get started. You guys should all be able to see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the north of Beleriand lies Dorthonion, a green and fertile place hemmed by beautiful silver and blue mountain ranges. Dorthonion has stood for nearly 500 years as a place of peace. Its swift rivers are full of flashing fish. Its forests are thick and full of life, and the lords of the realm, Egnor and Angrod of the House of Finarfin, administer their duties justly. For hundreds of years ago, the elf known as Finrod Felagund gifted the land of Ladros to men and women in this region. And there, in the northeast of Dorthonian, they have dwelt, friends of the Noldor, learning from them and growing in stature of spirit and beauty. And now we find 2 of them, of the House of Beor. Both are dark of hair with eyes as blue as the summer sky. They have left their pastoral village where they grow wheat and barley and tend to sheep, and now they hunt. The 2 are no doubt kin. That much is easy to see from their keen gaze and stature. "So, niece," says a man named Lauren, "when last did we leave the comfort of Ladros?" He stops before moving down a craggy hill, losing sight of the village behind him. "It's been too long." He looks at the sky. "For many years have I longed to journey on a hunt with the pine in my nostrils, the whipping wind in my ears, the beauty of this land filling my grateful eyes." He looks down to his side, and there a dog barks. Now, Donnybrook, old friend. We'll be to the past soon enough, and glory will be had, the stag will be ours, and we will return home as heroes." He laughs and looks to his niece. "In the meantime, my brother's daughter will have to entertain us with tales and old stories." He looks to his niece. "Isn't that right?" And you, Quiet, are on Lauren's right side as you leave the safety of home and scale the low mountain ranges that end in Ladros, kind of moving off to the east in search of a deer. And I'll let you go ahead and role play in as the dog scampers off barking.
Quiet, of course, just true to her name, or at least her nickname. And while she doesn't have many words to say at the start, she does smile a bit, her eyes scanning through the forest and the trees. I suppose. Donnybrook, where's he off to now?
And as you say that, he bursts back onto the scene, and a handful of quails kind of fly into the blue sky, circling quickly out of sight. Lauren draws his bow in a flash, and you hear the bowstring stretch. But alas, he's too late. He never was much one for hunting, more of a companion than anything else. Donnybrook talks more than you do, dear.
Well, Uncle, sometimes it's good to be a little quiet. And perhaps you should get more into traps.
I don't blame you. You've been through a lot. Losing your father is something that shouldn't happen. I was close to him too, you see. It's good we can get out, though. A few days under the night sky will do us well.
Her eyes lower at the mention of her father, and avoiding that entirely, she just nods and moves forward, begins down the trail further. Perhaps we'll find something a little along the way.
Suppose that's what this is all about? This hunt beneath the pines? What we find along the way, and what we leave behind. I dare say a few nights out in the open, like I said, will do us well. Come now. Seems Donnybrook has found something. And again, he kind of bursts out of the woods. And this time he has like some pine needles kind of all over his coat. And he does that kind of dog thing where they shake it off and sends pine needles everywhere before he dashes off down the hillside. And as you go down the hillside, you kind of leave that green and verdant valley behind, and you pick your way over a stony slope, and the sun kind of passes overhead. The cloud cover gets a little more dense, and now we've all experienced these evenings where that sun is fading to the west, casting long shadows to the east, and just lights up everything with brilliant hues of gold and oranges. Even though the temperature is probably, I don't know, maybe in the 50s Fahrenheit, it's that warm, glowing sun that seems to bathe everything in that comforting light. I'm going to venture to another question, Quiet. Your brother. We've all heard the rumors. Are you going to enlighten me, or are you going to stay mum?
I know nothing, and you should know nothing either.
I don't know much at all. He was always a kind soul, a little rambunctious, but who isn't at his age? I just find it ominous. To leave Ladros, these rumors going on about him, wanted? For what crime, I do not know. Surely, my niece, you have to know something. No?
She will definitely try to get the attention of Donnybrook to shift the subject.
Yeah,
her hands clapping together, and she's like, come here, Donnie.
Yeah, he runs up to you, and you can feel his muzzle as he kind of rubs it up against your thigh, and he sits there, panting, looks up to you with big brown eyes.
What a good boy.
There I am again, says your uncle. Coming in second place to a dog. I understand. I guess it's not time yet. But it will soon be dark. We need to find a place to camp. Unless we can spot the stag.
I'm afraid Donnybrook has scared them all off.
Can you give me a survival check? First check of the game.
She's going to still take the opportunity to scan the area, especially since this is sort of a clearing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything around?
Give me a let's see what the uses. Perception. Give me a perception.
Bear with me.
No problem. So if you go up into mental skill menu, it should be at the top, men_skill menu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and if you click that, what's going to pull up is all your skills. You see under senses it says perception, and in this instance it would be a just a flat check.
What does it mean by trained?
You have ranks in it, which you do. It looks like you have
Okay. I wanted to make sure that I had that right. I didn't want to accidentally put that in there.
Not great, but not awful either. So you don't notice anything out of ordinary, but you see what looks to be a game trail, kind of winding down through the lower parts of these hills, and you see some of the weeds and the bulrushes pushed aside. And as you get closer and closer, you don't see any tracks, but you see what certainly looks like a game trail kind of leading into the pine forest to the east.
I do apologize. I think my internet is spurting. You did break up there as you were explaining towards the end. So you're saying that there were no tracks, but there was indication of something passing through to the east?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, there's a game trail, just with the bulrushes and the weeds and the kind of scrub brush kind of pushed to the side. And as you get closer, it looks like it kind of winds off into the pine forest.
Okay.
Which is where
she'll definitely point that out to her uncle. Obviously using minimal words, but motioning towards the indicators, and definitely trying not to rile up Donnybrook in the process.
Yeah, you hear it. He kind of picks up a trail and goes kind of slowly ahead of you to your uncle. Said, "Oh, very good. You've picked up something? Oh, we're heading that way anyway. Need some cover before nightfall." Now, what you could do, quiet. I did give you a bow. I know you're not trained, but I think most characters should probably have access to one. But you see your uncle kind of remove the bow from his back, and he strings it again as you kind of start to follow this game trail. And as you follow this game trail, this time, Wyatt, give me a survival check. But since you made that perception and you're on the trail already, you're going to give yourself one benefit, and your target's going to be 20.
Okay.
Whoa, man.
Wow, I didn't realize these rolled so high in this game.
So, yeah. So, see the 18s? So, that's like an explosion. That 14 is an explosion.
Oh, okay.
So, you get to keep those. And then the reason you had so many die is because for your survival, even though you only have... If I'm being monotonous, tell me. But since this is our first time playing the session, so your mental, so survival's under senses, and so under senses you put 4. Your rank is 4 of your ability. So what you do is you combine 4 plus 2 is 6. So you get to roll that many die in your dice pool. So it's a pretty big dice pool.
Oh.
So very good.
Okay.
Very good. So tell me what it looks like as you pick up a trail of a deer and you follow it for several hundred yards just to the edge of the pine forest, and then with that good a roll, you see kind of faintly, probably 50 yards away, what looks to be a big buck. You should be able to see it on the map there.
Okay. So, Quiet will follow the what she had initially picked up on. Then eventually, she finds more indication of what they're hunting. Deer tracks evident in probably some damp mud, especially if there is a creek over there that they're passing through. And then she's very methodical, very patient in this process. Very meticulous in going through and following the tracks as they go into the pines, and she'll keep her footfalls very, very soft, so as to not, obviously give away their position, keeping themselves downwind, I believe, so that the deer doesn't get their scent, and eventually they come across the deer, and she'll pause and look over to her uncle, mostly just not just indicating that she sees it, but trying to see if he is going to knock his arrow and take charge of the pursuit further.
What are you looking at? He has an arrow knocked, but it's kind of lowered.
She'll point to her eyes and then motion them down to where she sees the buck.
No, I see the deer. My niece, this is yours. This is your hunt. You tracked him down. Take the shot.
So I did not pick up a bow because I'm a silly girl. What do I do about it?
I gave you one in your inventory. It should be on there.
Okay. All right. So then she will, she'll knock an arrow and aim, and then take a moment to just kind of steady, and then let the arrow loose.
So I will let you take. So when you shoot, you can aim as many times as you want. You can aim up to 5, like in the situation. So in this situation, I think you'd be able to aim twice. So what you would do, an aim is 2 benefits, and what that does is it gives you an extra rolled dice. So your TN is going to be 15 to get this thing. 1 benefit for each aim. Yeah, so if you aim twice, you get 2 benefits. Right? Yes, yeah. So if you aim twice, it'd be 2 benefits. So you can aim your bow and fire.
Alright. Yeah, I'm untrained. Right? Yep.
And just say medium distance.
Combat?
It's if you go under combat menu, under weapons, your 4th weapon should be bow.
Wait, I have to choose a target?
Oh yeah, it's going to try to pull a base defense. You can just pick. You can pick anything. Pick yourself if you want. We'll just use 15 as a base defense. Yeah, but it doesn't matter for you. Yeah, so what Tech said, if you pick Dex bows on your sheet, you can roll off your sheet too, and it doesn't do all the math.
So I'm doing 2 benefits or 1 benefit? Like, am I aiming once or
you can
like?
you can aim twice.
What does? Okay.
Each time you aim gives you
twice?
1 benefit.
Okay.
But since this isn't a real combat situation, I'll just say you can aim twice. In a real combat situation, medium. Just do medium range. In a real combat situation, aiming, you're gonna miss regardless. In a real combat situation, each aim costs action points, and if we do combat tonight, we can take that. But yeah, tell me what looks like that you missed the deer and it scampered.
She takes her time to aim, and there's definitely a bit of nervousness. Obviously, she wanted her uncle to take the shot, but as he was insistent, she tried to muster up the confidence and perhaps held the arrow a little bit too long, and the weight of the string just made her shake just a little bit too much. The arrow flying, then going so far off, but still scaring the deer, and the deer darting away.
It misses the deer and just flies into the undergrowth. And as you look back at your uncle, he has a kind of a smirk on his face. Without practice, my niece, you'll never get good. Don't think I didn't have an ulterior motive, though. I didn't want the hunt to be over after one evening.
I suppose it's just disappointing.
It's not disappointing. Like I said, the longer we get to spend out here under the stars, the better. Come on. Under the pines we go. Donnybrook, you lead the way. And he kind of runs off. And with that, as you kind of head under the eaves of the forest, you move to a little bit, a little deeper in the forest, where a lone elf is sitting by a stream. Everybody able to see?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Now you should be able to.
I see her token, but not the scene.
This might be some new devilry from the Can you refresh your screen, see if it pops up?
Yeah, I'll do that. Hang on.
Make sure that LDL is turned on, Bo, instead of UDL on the page.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah. Okay, good. Alright, it works now. Cool. This game is stress relief. The first age of Middle-earth is filled with magic and wonder. The hills are enchanted, the green forests speak in an ancient tongue, and the animals have minds of their own. And it is one of these forests that we find Lineth. She sits perched upon a bed of moss just inside the wood's edge, near to a mountain meadow. It is not unusual in these days for the Nodor to wander, for the hem of Dorthonian has been a ward against the darkness in the north for nearly half a millennium. Golden evening sunlight shines upon Lineth from between pine branches of deep green. The smell of peat and pine needles is thick and heady, and a stream murmurs incessantly several paces from Lineth's feet. Her gaze is unfocused and wide. Perhaps she is gathering herbs, or traveling for mere delight of it. A squirrel wanders too. He stops at Lineth's feet, a pine cone perched between two small paws. His brown eyes look up at the elf, and he chirps.
Lineth kind of smiles down at the squirrel, brushing her hair behind one of her ears. She slowly turns, grabbing some berries that she has beside her, and picking a few off. She kind of drops them near the squirrel for him to take.
The squirrel kind of runs up your left leg, Linus, and looks in your little bag to see if there's any more berries. Runs down to his feet and picks it up. He takes a little berry and, kind of rotates it around in his little hand and stuffs it into his cheek. And then he sits there and waits as if he's expecting you to give him more.
She smiles broader and gives him more.
And he takes that one and he puts it in his left cheek. And he is waiting. And his head bows back and forth. He kind of runs up onto your lap and stands there looking up into your eyes.
She takes one more, and chuckling slightly, she puts it in her own mouth and eats it.
The squirrel makes a chirping sound, and kind of you can sense, given your particular set of skills, it's almost like a laughter. The squirrel hops down off of your lap and runs up onto a dead tree log to your right. The tree log is kind of covered with mushrooms and moss, this dark green moistness, and he runs into the trunk and back out. And you can see now kind of poking their head out from the side of the trunk these little baby squirrels, and they're chittering, and he comes back and is still begging for more food. And you kind of sense something that he's preparing for the winter, preparing for something else you don't know.
She looks thoughtfully at them, kind of taking a deep breath in these peaceful moments. What sort of place does she live in? Is there like an elven village nearby, or?
Yeah, you're pretty far away from it, but there is a castle, more or less, kind of naturally and gracefully built into a cliff, more central in Dorthonian. That's where Egnor and Engrod kind of rule from.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think she's able to get out too much. She tends to be taking care of whoever may be sick or injured. But these moments when she is able to get out, she always kind of enjoys. She kind of pays careful note of how the sun is moving through the trees and the light is kind of falling upon this meadow. And she'll stand and grab kind of the rest of the berries that she's found so far and place them by the dead tree that the squirrels are kind of preparing in. She's not too worried about finding more, and she figures that they'll need the help.
And another adult squirrel kind of emerges, and you sense just that they're thrilled and they have such gratitude towards you, Lineth, for helping them prepare for whatever they're preparing for. I don't want to make a squirrel voice, but they thank you in their own language, which you can understand, and they ask you why you are lingering in such a place.
She smiles down. Do you not find it beautiful here?
Can you give me an essence check?
I would love to give you an essence check. Gonna find it one of these days.
You're an empath.
Yeah, it's not like on the social skill menu under empathy, it's not there.
Oh.
I'll click it from the sheet.
It's under magic. Here, let me turn it on.
Okay.
There, it should be turned on for you now.
There we go.
It's pretty good. And the squirrels, all of them go away except for the first one, and he still kind of goes up and sits down next to you on the moss. And he kind of says into your mind, "It is beautiful here, but just as all things here on this Middle Earth, all beautiful things come to an end." And then, even more, Lineth, you get the feeling that something is staring at you from the brook, from the stream.
She's looking around and cautiously says to the squirrel, "What is it that you sense, my friend?"
The squirrel kind of scampers down to the stream and starts to stare at its own reflection in the stream. And he kind of chirps at you as if beckoning you to come with it.
She will walk over.
And as you look into the stream, Lineth, at first you see your own reflection, and that kind of in waves of water and the little eddies and pools that form in the stream, that goes away, and you see a woman with kind of not sickly greenish skin, but that beautiful shade of green, that emerald shade of green that you see kind of in a mountain stream, and her hair is flowing. It looks kind of like blonde hair, but then it's also that mossy stuff that forms on a mountain stream. It's kind of flowing down the brook, and you hear a voice that says, "Indeed, almost good things must end. It has been a long time since I gazed upon the face of one of the firstborn, one of the children of Iluvatar. But you must make haste from this place. This realm will soon fall under the Dark Lord's sway."
By Dark Lord, would I know she means
Morgoth. Morgoth.
Now, I watched a video earlier, kind of, so I know a little bit of lore. Is this nearing the time when he's supposed to be freed from his imprisonment, or is this during a time in which he hasn't really been imprisoned?
He's been in prison for almost 500 years.
Okay.
And as far as people know, everything is on the up and up and extremely safe. Otherwise, you wouldn't be wandering this far away.
She looks into the water's reflection, kind of concerned. "Thank you for these warnings, but Morgoth has been imprisoned for nearly 500 years. Do you believe that to change?"
Ever devious is the mind of the enemy. Even when the good elves and men and women of this world are sure of their safety, the mind of metal and wheels that dwells beneath Thangordrim never sleeps. It never stops meddling. Indeed, soon my clean waters will run murky with oil, perhaps red with blood. But let me gaze upon your face one last time. This last reflection of the children of Iluvatar I will take down to the sea with me.
Yeah, she'll kneel down next to the water, kind of lean over it.
As you lean over it, your reflection is there in the water, and it's extremely crisp, and there's a slight uptick in the flow of the water, and it's like your image kind of turns away and flows downstream, just disappears. Then you hear the voice of the bubbling brook say again before it disappears. It sings a little song to you. Running and shimmering, twisting and glimmering, down from the mountains I run to the sea, from white caps of snow to mossy beds below, past flowers and ferns, green and verdant and glowing. Down from the mountain I run to thee to the sea. I bring cool draughts in summer and sleep in the winter. In autumn the leaves ride my eddies and pools cascading, and in the spring I grow heavy and my bounty spills over. So far to journey to the sea, For there my way wavers in waves and tide pools blue, and the waters of almost smile when they see the reflection of carried the view. And that disappears. Far in the distance then, Lineth, you hear the barking of a dog. And it is there that I will move over. To the other group. Should be able to see. And I'll let you roleplay what it looks like as you guys follow Donnybrook into the woods and the sun begins to set. It's been nigh an hour, says the uncle, looking at Quiet. No sign of the stag. We need to find somewhere for the night.
I'm sorry that I ruined our chances with the stag.
Oh, quit on about that. You didn't ruin anything, Quiet. It was my excuse to stay out here another few days. What good is a hunt if it's over in several hours? After all, you're a sparkling conversationalist. I wouldn't pass up another minute to spend with you.
Uncle, you didn't come with me to go hunting for information on my brother, did you?
No. Of course not. But some in the village are a little worried about you, Quiet. You are, dare I say, more quiet than usual these days. I've chalked it up to the passing of your mother and father. Losing your brother in a way like this, not knowing the details, it must be tough.
Well, it's been some time since we've seen each other. I don't know what he's been up to all these years. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just, I don't know what to do.
Lauren sighs. I'm not going to press you anymore this evening, Quiet. Dragging words out of you is going to be harder than dragging this buck back to the village. Come on, let's make camp. And Lauren kind of goes around behind one of these trees, and suddenly you hear a snap. Bam! And he goes, "Ah! My leg!" Turning around, Quiet, you see that Lauren has stepped into some sort of snare. He's been yanked probably 10 feet into the air, and there's blood spurting from his right leg as some cruel device is caught about his leg. Donnybrook starts to bark over and over again. Help!
So-
Get me down from here!
Hang on, Uncle. So the trap. What is the setup? Is there like Is it clear where the rope is possibly tied down?
Yep. From what you can see, it looks like there's a snare that's kind of going over a branch of one of the trees, and then looking to a nearby shrubbery. There's like a kind of weight there that had been triggered somehow. Donnybrook is just kind of barking into the forest at this point.
All right, so Quiet's going to try and find a way to cut the rope, but bring Lauren down without harming him further. Is that possible from where the bush is?
Yeah, he continues to scream. Help! Get me down from here! This is no ordinary trap. I feel faint. And he actually retches. He vomits. You get the sense that he might even be poisoned. After that happens, Donnybrook actually runs off into the woods, leaving you, unfortunately. And he goes quiet. And out of the woods lumbers a bent-over shape. And you hear a voice goes, "What do we have here? Looks like my little snare has scared up some dinner. I expected maybe a hare, a coney, maybe even a deer if we were lucky. But I never thought we'd be feasting on man flesh tonight." And the scene moves over back to the forest, where Lineth is there, still at the edge of that brook, kind of staring into her reflection. And the dog's barking gets louder and louder, and Donnybrook bursts, Lassie, bursts out of the woods, and you can see him kind of splashing down through the stream, Lineth.
She stands, looking concerned. "What's wrong, young one?"
The dog barks, runs up to you, runs a few circles around you, and then starts to head back toward Quiet's direction.
She'll chase after.
As you chase after Lineth, you see all around you now, as you kind of go along the bank, that there are what looks to be lots and lots of kind of iron-shod boot prints along the banks of this little stream.
That's very concerning, especially given the kind of warning that she was given already. She's keeping her eyes and ears open, but is following this dog to wherever they're leading. Perhaps someone is in trouble, she thinks.
Yeah, so just role play for a minute. What it looks like is you kind of crash through the woods in pursuit of Donnybrook, and in the meantime, I'm going to do some tokens.
Yeah, I think Donnybrook is kind of leading the way, and we get this shot of him like jumping over like a small kind of like hill with some shrubbery, or not a hill, but like a little mound, and Lineth kind of is in quick pursuit, falling like a small bit behind, as Donnybrook is a dog and very fast, but she's kind of able to keep pace, largely speaking. Her hand is resting close to a dagger that she's holding on her waist, but she's listening for any cries for help or any additional noise to give her any insights into what's going on as they continue through these forests. Based on the ironclad footprints in the dirt around her, she is concerned about what may have found their way into her home.
Well, And as you crash into the clearing, I'll let Quiet you roleplay what it looks like as you're standing underneath Lauren hanging on the branch, with 2 orcs now that have emerged from the wood, and they are advancing kind of slowly Quiet's direction.
She unsheathes her sword and looks at the 2 orc and then looks up at her uncle, kind of debating on whether or not to leave him up there or to cut him down to give him some relief. But she takes a deep breath and looks back at the orc that are slowly advancing and just readies herself, going into a defensive stance, but taking a step forward first to show that she's ready to fight if need be, which need be will be.
You're coming a bit closer, my dear. You dare to dance with Blot the Gunner and me brother Grimpog. All right, we'll dance, but I dare say the odds are against you. And then, Lineth, you can kind of pose what looks like as you crash in and see them.
Yeah, she crashes into this small clearing, looking around and quickly assessing the situation. She sees a man. He's been cut down at this point, right? But he's just really injured.
No, he's still standing there, and he looks very pale. His eyes are kind of rolling in the back of his head. His consciousness.
Yeah, she sees this man obviously not doing well, and a woman kind of stepping towards these 2. Are they orcs?
Yep.
Okay.
This is something you have not seen, probably because you're not up on the siege lines. You have not seen them in 500 years.
Oh,
They're
wow.
not supposed to be here.
Yeah. Her mind is racing to the Babbling Brooks kind of calls of Morgoth returning, and this area kind of running with blood and oil, and she's growing concerned, but she quickly grabs her dagger and is beginning to kind of speak to the creatures of the forest, calling for their aid as they're able to give.
All right, let's go ahead and enter initiative. All right, so Effie, so the initiative is under, if you put combat menu, there should be a initiative there. It's the very first one. Go ahead and hit that for me, and Emma, you can do the same.
Do we say trained or untrained for initiative?
Prompts you for that?
Yeah, it prompts me.
Just do trained, it's fine.
Okay.
Let me roll my boys here. Okay, so the way we keep track of this, Emma has played the system before, right?
Yeah.
So what you're going to see me do, Effie, is put a 0 and a decimal point in between each, before each of the initiative numbers. We're going to go in descending order according to action point values, and I'll explain how that works as we go move forward.
For Lineth, make sure you do 0.0. So it'll try.
Oh yeah,
right.
yeah. Yep. So, Quiet, you get to go first. Just role play and tell me what you would like to do, and I'll tell you mechanically how it's done, and you'll catch on in no time.
Quiet would like to, because I imagine she's close to the bush where the rope is tied down. Quiet would like to quickly turn and grab hold of the rope, cut it, and try to lower her uncle down.
Okay, I think that'd probably be like an interact. Yep, so that'd be 2 action points. And
Okay.
basically, I'll just let you do that. Just tell me what it looks like. He crashes to the ground and he's unconscious.
So yeah, she'll cut the rope, her hand around it just to make sure that it doesn't fall. But of course, his weight is more than she anticipates. So she kind of she's holding on to it and then lowers him as with as much ease as possible. But and I guess that's all I did at that point. So he's down on the ground now, at least with no more pressure on his leg. But there's a trap around his leg, correct?
Yeah, there's like a snare that's still kind of dug into his leg. It's bleeding. You can even see even though it's just been seconds, it's already starting to bubble and fester around like it's poison.
Okay. How many action points am I allowed?
That's it for you now, if that's what you want to do. Because Blot the Gutter would be up next, then Crimpug, then Lineth. And what Blot and Crimpug are just going to do, they're both going to advance 2. 1, 2. And so I just changed them to 2.6, 2.4. And so you see they go kind of down to the bottom. And that would be Lineth's turn.
Alright, so I have an ability called Beastmaster, where once a day in a wilderness setting, I can summon a number of minions with a beast descriptor equal to my animal handling rank. And I can command these creatures with a successful hard animal handling skill check, and they'll follow my commands within reason, but won't do anything that would mean certain death. And I think right now she's kind of seeing these sort of things, and she's not super built for combat. So she's calling on the creatures of the forest to help her, and is just kind of like calling out, seeing if any answer.
You'll get some creatures, not the squirrel family though. No harm comes from Chippendale.
I don't know, they might have some like Molotov cocktails or something.
So do you roll essence for that or animal handling?
Animal handling to like be able to command them.
Cool. Alright. So it happens automatically since it's an ability. She gets her animal handling is what rank?
2.
2. Alright, perfect. 2 works. So what happens is you do this and just kind of role play it to me like how you obviously don't cast magic, but you sing a song or mutter some words of power. And 2 hawks that are roosting nearby are going to fly and just kind of start swarming these orcs' faces, and they're going to get some hardships to their skills coming in.
Awesome.
Tell me what that looks like.
Yeah, so I think I imagine it kind of like in the Lord of the Rings movie when the ring wraiths are chasing Frodo and Elwyn. And she kind of crosses the river and then starts like chanting in Elvish, and like the river piles up and hits the ring wraiths. Something similar to that, not as powerful, but she starts kind of chanting out in Elvish. That's a big hawk.
Yeah.
They die.
It's the eagles from Lord of the Rings. But she starts kind of chanting out in Elvish, calling for the aid of the forest, and this is what the forest is able to provide, and she is thankful.
Is there an action point cost to that, Tet? Has to be, right? Does it mention it in your ability? I mean, look.
It doesn't say it in the ability. I would think there should be one, though.
Yeah. I would say it's like a standard action, so like 3 AP. Let's just keep things moving. Let's call it that.
That sounds fair to me. Yeah, totally.
Cool. And so now it's quiet. You're up again. And Blot and Grimbug are just getting swarmed by these things. Oh, get these bleeding birds off my face! You're scoring my beautiful face!
With them distracted, she'll turn and see Lineth pretty surprised by a random presence of an elf. But she's not going to take too much time to dwell on that. She's actually going to try and get the trap off of Lauren. Because it's obviously doing very harmful things to him, so she's going to want to do that while the guys are distracted.
Yep, I just let you do that. Tell me what that looks like. That'd be another interact, so you go to
Okay.
137.
So, yeah, she'll rush over and kneel down, and she's going to try and find where the trap has a hold on his leg and pry it open carefully so as to not get any poison on herself or exacerbate his wound. And she'll pry it open and toss it aside, and then assess his wound. And I suppose that's all I can do.
Yeah, it looks pretty awful though. You take it off, and it's you're quite certain you made the right choice getting that off of him, because it's clear the thing is kind of poisoned and it's no longer sapping into his circulation. He doesn't regain consciousness, but a little bit of the color returns, and he seems to fall into a deep sleep. As soon as you do that, though, you see both of the orcs just rampaging towards you as they start actually to run. And the hawks are kind of follow them as they charge through the brush and pick up speed. So both of them are going to run. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are both running. It actually should be 6.26. Which puts Lineth up again.
All
and
right.
what you see is, yeah, they have their blades kind of drawn, and they're charging towards Quiet as she's kind of bent over her uncle, releasing him from the snare.
Yeah,
Birds are still flapping around.
How many spaces can I move?
As many as you want. So if you still want to go before the orcs, 1. Let's see, 1, 2. You're 3 away before you could attack. 2, 3, yeah. So you would not be able to get there and attack unless. No, I don't think you'd be able to get there and attack. You would be able to adjacent.
Yeah, I think. I think the smart move. I think she's just gonna move there. That's 3 spaces.
Got it. Quiet. What does it look like as you're hunched over your uncle and these 2 orcs charge you, and they're almost you can hear them breathing.
She she will stand up and try to I guess go in for some offensive moves. She's gonna try to stab this guy.
Grimpug?
Yeah.
Alright, so what you could do is you could aim twice and still be able to go before him. That's probably what I would recommend.
Okay. Alright, well, I'll do that. What exactly do I need to do for aiming? Is it just like, do I say, like, I aim twice?
Yep, so you would say, like, I'm going to aim twice, attack. I'll do all that for you. And then when you click on your sword from the combat menu, you give yourself 2 benefits.
Okay. So, alright. Sword. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I was trained in swords.
Yeah, you are. Uh, 18. His base defense is 18. This meat beats, right?
Yes.
Meat beats.
It would be 0, and then you would add your damage.
Yeah, these guys are just minions, though. He does not
Does he
have
get
armor
past
on.
his armor, though?
Yeah, he doesn't have it on. These guys are not strong. So you swing at him. Tell me what it looks like as you gut Grimpug.
Gut him?
You kill him.
Oh wow! All right. Well, yeah. She as they're advancing, like they're running up towards her. She finally removes the trap from her uncle's leg, tosses it aside, quickly picks up her sword, and slams it right into Grimpug's gut, allowing his momentum to kind of aid in the thrust. And then she'll release the sword and let the orc fall limply.
Nice. He kind of almost falls on top of you. Just kind of slip him. Just kind of like push him aside. Just kind of grunts. As you get up.
Loving the sound effects, by the way.
And you killed Grimpug. So I'm removing him. Balat the Gutter. He's next to Lineth, actually. So he turns to Lineth, and he's going to attack her, and he'll be able to use the charge maneuver since he just got done running, which will he'll take the attack at a hardship. Oh, actually 2 hardships because the eagles. But if he attacks, he does double post-roll modifier damage. So let's see what happens. Broadsword. Benefits. Train. 18. Your base defense is
18.
Is 18. So that would hit. You could choose to use.
I can
Oh,
try to
actually,
dodge
that does not hit because it'd actually be 15 because he's running.
Oh, okay.
Remember,
awesome.
in the rules, the running penalty still applies to a charge. So he barely missed your base defense. So he charges after you, Lineth. but just kind of lunges, drawing his sword. He meant to ram his sword through your chest. You somehow kind of sidestep him. He gets off balance and just swings his sword and just grunts. And misses. He kind of turns at you and snarls. Where are you going, she-elf? Charge, I believe, is 3. So he'd be at 9.26.
Charge is 1 hardship, by the way.
But he had 1 hardship from the
yeah,
Hawks.
okay, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. The Hawks made the difference, man.
Go Hawks!
The Hawks!
Thank you, spirits of the forest. So now it's my turn?
Yes, now it's your turn.
Okay. Lineth will try to stab him with her dagger. Can I aim
you'll be
twice?
able to. You'll be able to aim twice and still go. Yep.
Yeah, I'll aim twice. No, 3. If I aim 3 times, he'll go before I can attack.
Yeah, his initiative is a little bit higher. Oh, 38. That's going to get him. Describe the death.
Yeah, so he
Yeah,
tries...
I guess he could dodge.
Yeah, he can try to dodge.
I doubt he can. He'll get a hardship from the Hawks.
Thank you, Hawks.
Nope. Tell me what happens as he goes down.
So he tries to charge her, and goes to attack but misses, and growls at her of, "Where are you going, she-elf?" And she just very quickly grabs her dagger and stabs underneath his armpit and just kind of like rips down and whispers in his ear, "I was coming to you." As Blot drops, Lineth will quickly like look towards Quiet and look towards the rest of the forest. "This is bad. We need to hurry. We need to go back."
Quiet is not paying attention. She immediately goes to her uncle and tries to look at the wound, make sure that he's still alive. I need to save him.
He looks up at you, Quiet, with milky white eyes.
"This is bad. Allow me to try." And she'll step forward and will try to heal him if she can.
He's poisoned. I don't know the antidote.
How are you going to try to heal him? Are you going to try your magics or your regular heals?
She's gonna try to heal him.
Ooh.
So she kind of stands over him, closing her eyes slightly. She begins to sing a soft tune that doesn't appear to be an Elvish to you. You're not sure perhaps what language it is, but there's something to these words that just feels soothing and calm as they kind of float over this area. And let's see.
That's good enough to stabilize him. Tell me what it looks like as the color comes into his face. He's able to speak now, but his leg still is severely broken.
Yeah, so he's able to breathe a bit more now, but he's obviously still in pain. As Lineth is looking around, when she saw the boot prints, there seemed to just be more than 2, right? Like, does she get the sense that there are more of these orcs around?
Yeah, funny you should say that, because as you're freeing him, the entire forest around you, you can hear the snarls and cackles just seeming to come alive as the sun kind of sets. Even deeper into the forest, Lineth and Quiet, you see like sparks of fireflies, little torches, and campfires being lit. And you see shadows kind of moving around the edges of the trees. You estimate hundreds of creatures. Slowly getting the courage to get you.
Lineth looks afraid as she looks down at Lauren and then towards Quiet.
Yeah, the hawks disappear into the west. They fly off into the west.
My home is far. You and I could make it, but I'm not sure that... I don't know that we can bring this man with us.
Well, you can go on. I'm not leaving him. She's Quiet's going to start. She's going to hook her arms beneath her uncle's and try and start dragging him.
He moans. Oh no! Quiet, blessed niece. You're not going to outrun these things dragging me. Leave me stay here. Put the sword in my hand. Perhaps I can finish a few of them ere I fade away.
No. I can't lose another.
Lineth, can you give me another essence check, please?
Yeah.
Perfect. You hear the desperateness and hopelessness in Quiet's and Lauren's voices, and somehow, from some spring in your soul, a glimmer of hope arises. You sense something approaching from the west. Your heart is buoyed. You feel only if you could buy just a few more moments.
So I feel like something's coming.
Yep, like something to help you.
Something is coming.
I understand, but...
No, something good. Stay strong, stand tall. All the creatures haven't noticed us yet, right? Or they have?
Yeah, you see them slowly, kind of every once in a while. They're kind of visible through the woods. They're pretty far away still. Every once in a while, one like kind of dashes into the clearing and says something to you in like a guttural language, and then they kind of fade back into the gloom. Actually, why don't both of you roll a d6 for me?
Oh,
Oh, you both got ones.
That's good, right?
All right. Now, poorly aimed arrows start to fly in your direction. Since you both rolled ones, you both are going to get arrows shot at you. These are just shot in the dark, just from far away by cowardly orcs. The first one misses Quiet, and the second one is aimed towards Lineth. Let's see what happens here. Ooh, this one hits. Lineth, a black shafted arrow slams into your left flank. Let's see if it bounces off your armor or not. It'd be 3 plus piercing of 3. What armor do you have? Do you have armor at all?
Unless you gave me any, no. Yeah, it just says 0.
Okay. And your injury level's 4, your wound level's 9. So this would be torso strike, so no penalties, no bonuses. So it would be 6 levels of success, which would give you an injury. So what does that look like? Just as this thing slams into your side and sticks.
Yeah, I think as she's trying, she feels this presence coming to help them. And as she does, and she's trying to quiet down and get them to like focus and prepare themselves, this arrow flies out of nowhere, and she's not really expecting it, as it just lands into her side.
For just roleplay purposes, could you both give me a courage check?
Could you repeat? A what kind of check?
Courage.
Courage. Is that in
Willpower.
Yep.
Men?
Your target number is 21. Lineth. All right, show me what that looks like as Quiet starts to lose hope and becomes afraid, and Lineth reassures her.
Quiet? Of course, the arrow flies past her. She feels the wind of it against her cheek, and gasps. And then, as soon as Lineth is struck, she feels her hope becoming dashed, because at first it was just her uncle that was injured. Now, this person, this elf who came and helped them, now that person is injured and hurt, and it's just her. It's just Quiet, and she's still trying to drag her uncle someplace, just kind of in a false feeling of maybe she can get somewhere, even as she hasn't really registered that they're coming from all sides. So she starts crying as she's dragging her uncle. We'll get somewhere.
No, stop. Stay here. Watch the west. They're coming.
They're surrounding us.
Trust me.
She'll lay her uncle down and draw her sword, feeling as though this was a last stand. They're not coming. Nothing's coming.
Lineth just kind of looks to the west at that moment, waiting for whatever this is to arrive.
As you look to the west, you see the stars. Every once in a while, they just get blotted out by giant wings. And then you see, kind of illumined by the moon, this giant monstrous shape. As you see giant eagles swoop down from on high, and the orcs around you all just start to completely scatter. As you do that, a giant eagle comes down and it lands right next to Lauren and Quiet, and the ground just shakes as it lands. Most of the orcs in the area have kind of dispersing as Thorondor. Lineth, can you give me a lore check?
Yeah.
Yep. You don't know quite who this is, but it's the most majestic eagle you've ever seen in your entire life. And it lands. It says, "Come. I will bring you all to safety."
She smiles up at it, looking around. She says to Quiet, "Hurry! Get this man. We must go." And she'll stand, and with what little help she can offer at this time, she'll help grab Lauren as well and bring him over to Thorondor.
Thorondor, go ahead.
As they're dragging Lauren, she's Quiet's also going to call out for Donnybrook because no one left behind, not even Donnie.
Donnybrook looks to you, Quiet, as some of the orcs are getting a little brave and starting to close in on you. Even a few arrows bounce off of the majestic feathers of the eagle. And Donnybrook looks to you and then runs off into the woods with a handful of orcs chasing after him. You can hear him barking into the distance. Barking. Nothing that sounds like pain. Eventually the barking fades off.
She's not gonna go after him, feeling as though Donnybrook was possibly creating a diversion for the sake of his master. So she's going to continue to go over to the giant eagle, which she's not having much time to process that, but as they get closer to the eagles, she definitely is marveling at the creature. This is safe.
Yes.
The Rondor very gently picks up Lauren in its talon and allows Lineth and Quiet to climb onto its back if they would choose.
Yeah, definitely.
Quiet would not know to do that until Lineth did, and then she'd follow suit.
And Lineth will help you up.
Where'd your token go?
I see all of our token.
Oh, there it is.
We riding.
It's still evening time, but we're going to close out the session with this majestic eagle. And instead of going towards Dorthonion, you feel it rise higher and higher into the air. And as you look downwards, you see Ladros fading away to the west as it lies further east. And you see a low ring of mountains that Lineth you know as Himring. And you know that is the realm that is ruled by a famous elf by the name of Ladros. He's one of the sons of Feanor. And I'll let you roleplay what it looks like as you get taken to safety with barely conscious Lauren. And you're flying to the east through the night for a few hours.
Yeah, I think as they reach a place of relative comfort in the skies, Lineth will pull out the arrow that struck her and slowly start kind of singing a song once more to heal herself. She seems to be focused on that, and although this is quite the experience, she probably isn't showing as much alarm at the craziness of the situation as one might think. Yeah, she's...
Quiet is, for the most part, quiet. She's definitely marveling at this amazing view that is obviously a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I'm assuming it's evening, right? And they're going into the night?
Yes.
So watching the sunset from this height is a wonder. And so she allows this time up in the air for her to calm her nerves, to process what happened, and allow herself to ease into the calmer state of mind. And then as Lineth sings her song, her attention turns to that, and she'll listen, still remaining quiet. And then as her song comes to a close, she'll finally speak. That was beautiful.
She kind of softly smiles towards you. It is a rare gift blessed by people to heal in song. I am simply one of the chosen.
Chosen indeed. Thank you. Without you even there, I fear we would not have made it.
I fear perhaps many will not. We need to warn the others. Morgoth is returning.
What?
A great evil is coming again. One that hasn't been seen in these lands for 500 years. Must tell the elves we must prepare.
Just the elves? We should tell anyone. We should tell everyone.
Need to tell... What are the names of the leaders again?
Angrod and Anglor were your lords.
Yeah.
You seem to be flying to the east, though, where Kingdom of the Elves. You would not have known this, but in character, the lords of Dorthonion have actually, like a couple days ago, ridden to the north, to the siege lines. Bad timing. That was decided during one of the other prologue sessions.
Okay.
Yeah. In character, you wouldn't know that, though.
Okay. We need to get word to Agnor and Angrod. From there, they will better be able to handle the situation and the mustering of the various troops in the lands.
As long as my uncle gets the help that he needs.
Your uncle will be okay. We'll heal him. He'll be taken care of.
Alright, so are we going in the right direction to warn?
The lords rode north, and this eagle seems to be taking us towards... Enter place name here.
Himring. Himring. we can end it with that
Yeah, that works.
because that will put everybody in the same place.
Yay!
4 prologues before the campaign starts.
Did it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for playing.
Did it.
Thanks for running.
Thanks.